Yo, what's good, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. Today we have our post NFL free agency NFL mock drafts. Yep, the order is the same. Obviously, teams have signed their guys. Justin Fields released, so Bears will be taking a quarterback. Same thing with Mac Jones to the Jaguars. Patriots will most likely be taking a quarterback. But yeah, make sure to like and subscribe YouTube channel and the video, or I guess the other way around. But yes, go into the description, click the link for submitting video ideas because I'm going to be looking at them, and my hope is that I will be able to do them, assuming they're not bad ideas, which I don't expect them to be. With the first overall pick, we have the easiest pick in the drafts. It's going to be Caleb Williams. Yes, the easiest pick in the draft used to be Marvin Harrison Jr., but Bears don't have a quarterback anymore, so it would make 100% sense to take Caleb Williams with the first overall pick. Simple, easy, it's the right pick. At 2, we have the Commanders. We've seen between Drake May and Jayden Daniels, it actually looks like the website has, honestly, let me zoom in a little bit. Looks like the website has updated its draft board with Jayden Daniels at 4 instead of like 17, 16 last time. With that being said, I'm still going to take Drake May. I just feel like it's who's going to be picked higher. I think Jayden Daniels is a slightly better player. Probably not even slightly. I think Jayden Daniels is overall the better player. Obviously the better runner. Arguably the better arm. I know that's probably a little bit more controversial. Accuracy, maybe Drake May. But Jayden Daniels, big improvements. That's why I do have him going 3rd overall to the Patriots. Getting rid of Mac Jones kind of signifies they're going to be taking quarterback here at 3. Looks like we're going to have a training camp Jayden Daniels versus Bailey Zappi, and I'd be very surprised if Jayden Daniels did not come out with that win. At 4, we have the Arizona Cardinals. This is still going to be Marvin Harrison Jr. There's just no reason why I change it. In my opinion, he's the best prospect overall in this draft, and yeah, to the Cardinals at 4. Getting Kyler Murray, a true wide receiver 1. First time he's had a true wide receiver 1 since DeAndre Hopkins, and it's time to give Kyler his respect and the help that he needs. At 5, we have the Chargers, and I think this is going to be a very prime trade down spot. J.J. McCarthy is now the 7th overall prospect on Pro Football Network's big board, and I think a team is going to be looking to trade up for him. We're going to trade the 5th overall pick from the Chargers to the Minnesota Vikings. Like I said before, Vikings are trading up strictly to draft J.J. McCarthy out of Michigan. You can say all you want, bad statistics, got carried by his running game, but at the end of the day, NFL draft scouts, they look for the intangibles. Winning as a quarterback, okay, it's a great college stat, probably not as good as an NFL stat that you want to look at, but he kind of has all the pieces to get put together. He played in a run-first offense. You can't really do anything, and when that run-first offense ends up winning a national championship, what is there to complain about? We have not seen the full potential of J.J. McCarthy, and hopefully we are going to be able to see it when he has a wide receiver like Justin Jefferson to be able to throw the ball to. I have J.J. McCarthy going 5 to the Minnesota Vikings. Before I go on with the 6th overall pick, forgot to mention, had to bring up a little free agency tracker right here. Jayden Daniels will be fighting for the starting position with Jacoby Brissett. I do expect Brissett to win that one. And for the Vikings, they did sign Sam Darnold. That does not stop you from looking to draft a quarterback, though, at 5. So, just had to look at a free agency tracker real quick. My picks are still fine, but just had to mention that. With the 6th overall pick, we have the New York Giants. With them, not signing a quarterback, we didn't expect it to happen. But maybe if J.J. McCarthy falls to 6, they look to select him. But I am going to give the Malik Nabers here out of LSU. They need wide receiver help very badly, and Malik Nabers fits that perfectly. It's a very simple pick for the Giants here at 6. I could also see them possibly take tackle here and Joe Alt, which is who I have the Titans picking at 7. But have them going at Nabers. Alt is a big dude. He had a great combine. The Titans, didn't have a terrible free agency when it came to, looks like got something right there, but they didn't have a terrible free agency. I look it up real quick. They were able to get Lloyd Cushenberry, who I think comes in as a starter right away. Also, obviously, the weapons of Tony Pollard and Calvin Ridley to help Will Levis. But there's no reason they shouldn't pick a tackle. They didn't really address it too much. And Joe Alt is the best tackle in this draft class. At 8, we have the Falcons, and I think this is no longer looked to be a wide receiver. They did sign a lot of guys, including Darnell Mooney. You also have Rondale Moore being traded there. Does that mean they won't take wide receiver? I mean, Rome Odunze is available here. I think he'd be a good pick for them. Doesn't mean they won't take wide receiver, but I'm going to have them take edge in this one. It's going to be Dallas Turner out of Alabama. Yeah, it's a very simple pick. They upgraded their team a lot during free agency, but not so much on the defensive side, and I think more specifically the trenches. And I think that's where Dallas Turner will, get drafted for the Falcons, and I think it's a very solid pick. I think Dallas Turner very underrated in this class, considering he's the first defender coming off the board, and we have a lot of offensive weapons like Williams, May, Daniels. Obviously, I mean everyone except Joe Alt, I guess. We have a lot of offensive weapons coming off the board quickly, so that kind of underrates Dallas Turner. I like him 8 to the Falcons, though. At 9, we have the Chicago Bears. Similar to the Falcons, they upgraded their wide receiver core a lot. They're able to sign, obviously, Pro Bowler Keenan Allen. They traded for Keenan Allen and signed guys like DeAndre Swift and Gerald Everett to give, obviously, Caleb Williams weapons as a rookie. So I think this is also going to be edge. Yeah, I mean, wide receiver, it's there, but I don't think that should be the number one thing that they look at. I'm going to give them edge here. It's going to be Jared Verse out of Florida State. Yeah, he shares with Dallas Turner my 1A, 1B edges in this class, and I think to the Bears at 9 is a very solid pick. And with the Jets at 10 signing Tyron Smith, I think they can look in a different position than tackle. Obviously, Olu Fashanu and Talisi Fuega available here at 10, but I'm going to give them wide receiver right now. Very, very, very weak wide receiver room at the current moment with basically just Garrett Wilson, Allen Lazard. Just by that, it's not that good. We're going to give them Rome Odunze out of Washington. I think it's time for the Jets to buy all in. We saw them sign an older guy in Tyron Smith to help the protection of Aaron Rodgers. It's time to give them a receiver threat as well in Rome Odunze. And I think the Jets are going to try to make a run next year for the Super Bowl. With the Chargers here at 11, I think they are in prime position to go ahead and take tackle here. It's going to be between Fuega and Fashanu, maybe even Latham as well. I'm not sure who I'm going to lean here. Honestly, could see either. I think I am going to lean Talisi Fuega here at 4 or at 11 though. Yeah, I think that's the right pick at 11. It does fit their offensive line better than what Olu Fashanu would. And I think overall you can argue Fuega over Fashanu as a draft prospect. Just me personally, I like the fit a little bit better to the Chargers here at 11. At 12, it's not going to be, I don't know if it'll be a surprising one. It's one I've done already before. When you look at the quarterbacks that the Broncos are able to get anymore, it's really just Ryan Tannehill. And then when you have Ryan Tannehill, assuming that you're going to bring him in and also bring in a guy maybe during the drafts, that's fine with me. Don't really know where I was going with that one. But Ryan Tannehill should not stop you from drafting a quarterback. And I think that quarterback will be Bo Nix. I think Tannehill will start for the first couple weeks of the season. They haven't even signed Ryan Tannehill yet. I'm assuming that they will. But I think Tannehill will start for the first couple weeks of the season. Then they'll be able to get Bo Nix off the bench. And he should be ready right away. I like Bo Nix as a quarterback. I think his play style sort of reminds me of Drew Brees. Kind of his tendencies at quarterback. Obviously, he's 3-4 inches taller, so there's that difference, and weighs more. But, the Broncos have no quarterback on their roster right now except Jared Stidham. So it's time for them to make some moves. And I think Bo Nix and Ryan Tannehill will be those moves. Next up, we have the Raiders at 13. And I think after signing Christian Wilkins, probably don't have to go interior defensive lineman anymore. So there goes Johnny Newton and Byron Murphy. Could look at cornerback here and maybe Terry Arnold or Quinion Mitchell. Could also maybe look at offensive tackle, of course, with Olu Fashanu still being on the board. And I think at 14, I am going to lean cornerback. Getting pass help and run help right away with Fashanu would be big for them, assuming that they're going to be going ahead next season with Gardner Minshew as their starting quarterback. I think I'm going to lean. It's going to be between cornerback and offensive tackle. I'm going to bank on the cornerback position going because in real life, I think the cornerbacks will go a lot higher than this. Just really didn't find a spot for them. So I'm going to go Quinyon Mitchell here at 13. Cornerbacks will go high. There's going to be at least one in the top 10 in my opinion, maybe two. And yeah, I'm going to have Quinyon Mitchell be my first corner off the board. And I think this is the first time he's going to be my first corner off the board. It's always been Terry Arnold and Nate Wiggins and Kool-Aid McKinstry. Cool to see Quinyon Mitchell jump up, especially after I mocked him in the first round before everyone else did. So it's nice to see my guy, I guess, get the respect and recognition he deserves. At 14, we have the Saints. I think this should be a fairly easy pick. By the way, just signed Chase Young. Very excited for that as a Saints. They just signed Chase Young. Very excited for that as a Saints fan. But yeah, they do have a lot of holes on their team, including wide receiver. Brian Thomas Jr. could be an option. They just signed Cedric Wilson as well. So right now, you're looking at Olave, Shaheed, Cedric Wilson. I don't love that room. I'll tell you that much. I do not love that wide receiver room. But we're going to be focused on tackle here and drafting Olu Fashanu out of Penn State at 14. At 15, the Raiders have the lucky ability to be able to just draft Brock Bowers, a guy who should not be on the board. Yeah, it's top player in this class. In my opinion, a top 4 player in this class. Behind the likes of, honestly, top 3 player in this class. I mean, behind the likes of Harrison Jr. and Caleb Williams, Brock Bowers is also a generational player. Bring him at 15 to the Colts, and yeah, it's great value at 15. At 16, we have the Seahawks. I'm probably going to be looking at interior offensive linemen with this one. Could look at Troy Fautanu. I mean, these guys' names changing, but also Jackson Paris-Johnson possibly. I think I'm going to be looking for Fautanu or whatever his name is. He's getting drafted to the Seahawks here at 16. You got the Washington-Seattle connection. I like it. Obviously not the reason I drafted him, though. Yeah, Troy should probably be a starter right away at left guard for the Seahawks, I believe. That's where they have their hole. And, yeah, it's a fine pick. He was on the best offensive or college offensive line there was this season. And it's a good fit to the Seahawks at 13. Or, excuse me, at 16. At 17, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. Probably going to be looking to go corner here. There really should be no scenario where cornerback 2 is available at 17, and that is where I'm going to have Terry Arnold go for the Jaguars. Yeah, if the first 2 cornerbacks of the board end up going at 13 and 17, then something's going wrong with the draft because they will go a lot higher, believe that. And yeah, Arnold to the Jaguars at 17, it's amazing value. In my opinion, he's my cornerback 1. Just in this mock draft, I just had Quinyon Mitchell go first. Sometimes that's just the way it is, and I have Terry Arnold falling to the Jaguars at 17. At 18, we have the Bengals. I think I'm going to be between offensive tackle and defensive tackle here with the 18th overall pick. See Johnny Newton, see Byron Murphy. Those would be the 2 guys I would aim for. And for the offense, it'd be Latham or Amarius Mims. I think with the 18th overall pick, I'm going to have them land J.C. Latham out of Alabama. Yeah, very wide or big tackle need at the tackle position, obviously. And J.C. Latham will come in right away. I think he should be a starter right away for them as well. I loved him at Alabama. I thought that he could have been a lot higher of a pick, but just in this mock draft, players will fall, and that's why I have J.C. Latham at 18 to the Bengals. At 19, we have the Rams. With the loss of Aaron Donald because of his retirement, we could see them maybe take another undersized interior defensive lineman, maybe Johnny Newton, or a guy like Byron Murphy. Could also see them take corner here. I guess he's listed as safety, but maybe Cooper DeJean. Could also look at Wiggins or McKinstry. Edge is available as well, maybe Leatu Latu. I think I'm going to have them go interior defensive line, though. I'm going to have them go Byron Murphy. Out of Texas, yeah, you have a very apparent hole at the interior defensive lineman spot with the disappearance of Aaron Donald. Well, he's no longer there, so I'm not going to call it disappearance. But with him no longer being there, you have a hole, and Byron Murphy will fill that pretty well. At 20, we have the Steelers. Have them go tackle here for sure. Could also maybe look at guard, but not this high. Have them go Amarius Mims out of Georgia. Fairly easy pick. Gets the team up with his former college teammate at Georgia and Broderick Jones. So I do like Amarius Mims at 20 to the Steelers. It's a good fit. It's a team need. And yeah, it should be fun. At 21, we have the Dolphins. Probably going to look at interior offensive lineman here. It's going to be Jackson Powers Johnson out of Oregon. Yeah, there's probably a scenario where he goes as high as 16. There's also a scenario where he drops out of the first round. But I'm going to have him go here at 21 to the Dolphins. Pretty simple pick for me. With the, leaving of Kevin Byard and it being able to acquire Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, we won't have to look at safety too much. They didn't really help themselves at cornerback, though, this free agency. And I think we have Nate Wiggins, we got Kool-Aid McKinstry, and we got Cooper DeJean as well. I think here at 22, I'm going to lean Kool-Aid McKinstry here. I'm going to lean McKinstry here out of Alabama. It's really give or take with him, Wiggins or DeJean. Who do you like better? I think at his best, Kool-Aid McKinstry is the best cornerback in this draft class when he is playing at his best. Does he do that every single play on every single drive? Definitely not. But at his best, that is what he'll bring. And if you're able to get the best cornerback here at 22, you're doing something right. Personally, me, still think that overall it is going to be, or the best corner in this draft class is Terrion Arnold. But his teammate is very good as well. And I think at 22 is great value for this Philadelphia Eagles. At 23, we have the Minnesota Vikings with a trade with the Houston Texans. So no longer have to pick a quarterback here, obviously, with the selection of J.J. McCarthy. But we could look at the cornerback position or maybe possibly even the interior defensive lineman in Johnny Newton. We do have guys like Nate Wiggins available, obviously Cooper DeJean. But we also have a guy like Johnny Newton, and that's definitely someone who I might be interested in taking here at 23. And honestly, I think I just realized something. With trading up to 5 and the Chargers trading down, in that trade, I'm also going to include this pick in the trade because you're probably going to have to end up trading it if you want to trade up anyway. I mean, if I could find the Minnesota Vikings here, I'm going to have them trade this pick back to the Chargers because I think there's a good chance that they end up with it. And the Chargers here at, where's this pick at? At 23, being able to trade down and still being able to take Brian Thomas Jr. is a huge W for the Chargers. Brian Thomas Jr., Talisi Fuega, and probably more value as well in that trade. That's a win for the Chargers. Finally, you get Justin Herbert some help drafting a tackle and drafting a wide receiver. Hopefully the offense under Harbaugh can flourish. It's probably going to take some time, obviously, with your young guys like Quentin Johnson and Brian Thomas Jr., but you have some good building blocks to start off with, and I like that. Brian Thomas Jr. should not have fell to 23, but because he did, it's a great steal by the Chargers. At 24, we have the Cowboys, and people love to talk about how they barely made any moves. I'm going to have to go take Graham Barton here at 24. I don't know how happy Cowboys fans will be with that, considering barely any moves in free agency, take a guard in the first round. Don't know if Cowboy fans will love that, especially because Jerry Jones says all in. Didn't happen. At 25, though, you should be extremely happy that this guy's still on the board. Cooper DeJean, easy pick for the Packers at 25. I think overall he's a top 15, top 10 maybe prospect in this draft. Getting him at 25 is amazing value and is a steal for the Packers. At 26, we have the Buccaneers. I'm going to have them go edge here with Laiatu Latu. Yeah, I think just with him still being on the board, yes, there is the injury concerns, but at the end of the day, we're going to be evaluating the player, not his history. And as of recent, Laiatu Latu hasn't gotten any too big of injuries. So drafting him at 26, in my opinion, is not as much as a gamble as what other people might think. At 27, we have the Arizona Cardinals. Could be looking at a couple things here. Cornerback and edge are probably the two I'm going to be looking at the most. Johnny Newton still being available is something to note. But there's Nate Wiggins still being on the board. That's definitely can be an option for them. Could also look at Chop Robinson possibly. And I think I might lean Chop Robinson with this pick. There's cornerback, though. Nate Wiggins or Chop Robinson is where I'm going to be deciding between, maybe Ennis Rakestraw as well. But I think at the end of the day, with the 27th overall pick, I'm going to have him go edge here on Chop Robinson. Had an amazing combine, showed off his amazing speed as well. This guy has a lot of potential. And I think at the beginning of the season, we were talking about this guy being a possible top 15 to top 10 pick. Yes, he didn't have as good a season as he did 2 years ago now for Penn State. But the value 100% is there, and I think at his highest potential, Chop Robinson can possibly be the best edge coming out of this class. Great pick for the Cardinals at 27. At 28, I think this is going to be the first time I do not end up picking wide receiver for the Bills. Just to be honest, I mean, Keon Coleman's still on the board. Honestly, that just might change my mind on the spot. Yeah, I just forgot about Coleman and Mitchell for sure. You know what? No, I'm still going to go wide receiver. It's going to be Keon Coleman out of Florida State. I think him and Adonai Mitchell will both end up being first-round picks. Yeah, I know they signed Curtis Samuel. I know they signed Mac Hollins. But at the end of the day, this wide receiver core still needs a lot of help. And Keon Coleman, as a potential future wide receiver 1, would help them a lot. At 29, we have the Detroit Lions. I think I'm going to end up giving them cornerback here. Have them take Nate Wiggins out of Clemson. They did not expect him to be here. I usually have them going Ennis Rakestraw. But in this mock draft, Wiggins drops. Maybe it's because of his injury. Maybe it's because of his weight. Maybe it's because of his, he's a little shorter. Arms are a little shorter than we expected as well. But at the end of the day, we're evaluating what we see on the field. And what we see on the field is a first-round prospect in Nate Wiggins. I don't expect him to fall out of the first round. But if the Lions are able to snag him at 29, it'd be great value. Used to be my cornerback 1. Still probably my cornerback 3/4. He just fell a little bit. It's fine, though. I think he'll still be a good NFL player. At 30, we have the Baltimore Ravens. And I know that Pro Football Network does have wide receivers their number 1 or as their number 1 draft need. But we've seen Lamar Jackson roll out with the same, not going to say same wide receivers, but same talent of wide receivers for the last couple of years. Zay Flowers, OBJ, Devin Duvernay / Rashad Bateman last year. He was able to manage it. The year before that, we had Duvernay. We had, who else was even on that team? Lamar Jackson's able to make do without elite receivers. So even though that A.D. Mitchell's still on the board, I don't know if we have to pick him here. We could look at interior offensive linemen. Maybe like Tyler Guyton or Jordan Morgan, I guess, would be more of a better candidate to slide in. Same thing with Kingsley Suamataia. But, wide receiver is still an option. At the top of the board, you have Johnny Newton. Probably not right now because of the re-signing of Justin Madubuike to that huge contract. Honestly, I think I'm going to give them Tyler Guyton here out of Oklahoma. Just a solid, probably backup tackle for a couple of years. And, yeah, I do think he's a little bit more of a raw prospect. But give him a couple years behind this offensive line and with the working out / training with Lamar Jackson, I think he could turn into a very solid offensive lineman. I like the fit at 30 for the Ravens. At 31, we have the 49ers. I think they're another team that can look at the tackle position. Kingsley Suamataia and Jordan Morgan are definitely the top of my board right now. Could also maybe look at wide receiver and A.D. Mitchell. But I think at the end of the day, I'm going to stay tackle here. Jordan Morgan might be a bit early for him, but I think I'm going to give him to the 49ers here at 31. They do wish that Guyton fell to them, but they're going to have to settle for Jordan Morgan. Honestly, I think it's fine. It's another guy who's more of a developmental guy who's not going to start right away. At 32, we have the Chiefs. This is going to be A.D. Mitchell. There honestly should be no reason why he's still on the board. And that's the mock drafts. Guys that might have gone a little bit too high or earlier than we expected. We got, I guess McCarthy. I don't know if it's the highest I've had him. I think I've maybe had him at 5 before. But McCarthy at 5 might be a little high for some people. Other than that, doesn't look too crazy in my opinion. McKinstry maybe a little. No, probably not. Honestly, it was a fine mock draft. Brian Thomas sliding to 23 for the Chargers is a big get in my opinion. So there's the mock draft. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to leave in the comments what you agree / disagree with. I respond to all my comments. So if you're looking to start a conversation there, you can do it. Thanks for watching this video. See you guys next time. Like and subscribe. Go to the description and submit your video ideas. Peace.